big warm welcome to you. So I'd like to start by asking you some questions. Are you open? Are you relaxed? Are you receptive? Is your mind alert, and are you fully here? And so from this place, I want to invite you to come to our retreat this weekend, February 2nd through the 4th, 2024, if you're listening at a later date. So please come, please join, and there's details on the website. Okay. So the thing I'd like to speak about this week is our relationship to Kundalini and allowing the Kundalini to direct you in your inner path, your inner experience. And so most of us, we do not allow the Kundalini to direct us because we don't trust it. We're not sure what it is. Perhaps we fight with it or we resist it. And of course, there's all different levels to our being. So for example, like when I first started to notice this force of Kundalini within my consciousness, I realized that there was something in me, like there was an aspect of my body mind, my physical mind, that fought with the Kundalini, that was scared of it. In my conscious awake-aware mind, I knew that this was a force of God, a force of divinity. But my body didn't know that. My body treated Kundalini like it was an outside invader, like a force was coming to overthrow me. There are parts of my psychological nature that thought of it the same way, as that this force is coming to overthrow me. And from one perspective, there's a little bit of a truth to that, that there's a greater force of divinity, of evolution, that's coming forward to overthrow a lesser force, the lesser force of my ego. But so much of the spiritual path has to do with trust and faith. And I say this every week, but I'm going to say it again. Our path becomes quicker, easier, more efficient, and has less suffering when we have faith and trust. When we fight with our experience, it just takes a lot longer. And in a similar way, like I have a 9-year-old daughter, and when it's time to do homework, she fights and she resists. And sometimes the homework, which would just take her maybe 15 or 20 minutes to do, it can take 2.5 hours. And it just makes a brutal experience. Now, my oldest daughter, her relationship to homework was, she trusted in homework. She trusted in the learning process. She trusted in schools. She trusted that, if she just hurried up and got it done, then she could just get on with her life. And so my oldest daughter, she would just sit down and do her homework without any need or want or fight or anything. She'd get everything done so efficiently. And so we have a choice of how we're going to walk this path. Are we going to believe in the system? And in this case, this system is a system of God, a system of divinity that's waking up within us. We're going to believe in God's intelligence. And so say, okay, Lord, your will, not mine. Your will, not mine. And I'll tell a little story. I was once with my teacher, and I was in a ridiculous amount of pain, just physical pain, because there was an aspect of my unconscious that was fighting with the energy. My teacher looked at me. I was working for him. I worked for him for 20 years. And he said, okay, why don't you come inside the house, and why don't you lay here on the floor, Craig? And that's where the teaching began, was him just seeing me. So he had, the mindfulness awareness of, oh, look, there's a boy in pain. And he told the boy, that boy being me, lay on the floor. And so the first thing we need to be aware of is, where are we fighting? Where are we fighting? Where are we resisting? Where are we contracting in the body, to make it very specific? And sometimes we don't even see that. We're just in our mind, just fighting, unconsciously fighting and resisting. And some of us, we don't even see that. We are just on our phone, just scrolling on Instagram or Zillow or whatever it is that we scroll on, or Facebook or Twitter, and we're distracting ourselves. And a couple hours go by, we're like, what am I doing? Like, why am I distracting? Oh, yes, because I'm in pain. I'm going to keep distracting. And that tends to be the cycle of being human. With a human engaged with technology, is we just tend to distract. Now, if we are going to be a good Buddha, a good yogi, if we're going to follow the teachings of Christ or any of the great ones, we're not going to live a life of distraction. We're going to ask the same questions that I asked in the beginning. Are you open? Like, am I open? Am I relaxed? So that's what my teacher was doing. He's like, let's get you relaxed, Greg. Let's lay you down flat on the floor. If you go see a healer, we don't lay on the floor with a healer. We lay on a massage table. But with my teacher, he is a great healer. He said, Greg, let's lay you down. That's the invitation to relax. And then this question, are you receptive? Receptive is, in other words, are you trusting and open and willing to feel what's here, to experience what's here, to let what's here flow without the intermediary of your mind, of the egoic personality? Are you willing to let what's here flow? And I can remember this day. It was very funny because I was in so much pain, a ridiculous amount of pain. He had me come in and lay on the floor. And within like 2 or 3 minutes of opening, I started having these intense kriyas, this shaking. And so that's like a willingness, like, can we be willing to let it flow? And then, I had this great vision inside. And this wonderful thing with my teacher is our minds used to merge together. My teacher he spoke it out loud. He said, the Lord of Yoga is here. That was Shiva. And I smiled because, I recognized it and he recognized it. And that here I was, just this young kid who thought, I had some physical back pain of some sort. In fact, I was in so much pain, I think I couldn't think. But as I opened to it, what I began to realize is, oh, the Lord of Yoga, Shiva, is here. Like right here. Waking up within this consciousness. And so I'm going to invite us all to just play with this. We're going to play with a little bit of a meditation here. You can lay down if you like. You can stay seated if you like. It's up to you. I'm going to invite you to be comfortable wherever you are. I'm going to just start with some guided inquiry. where we ask this question: what is my relationship to Kundalini? What is my relationship to my experience in this moment? And so just noticing, we can start like more in the mental space. Do I view Kundalini, do I view this path as a gift? Do I view it as a curse? Do I view it like I am the victim of this path? Or do we view it like, oh, I'm one of the chosen ones? God has chosen to wake up within this consciousness that you are. It doesn't have to be a narcissistic chosen one, but a real humble chosen one. Like, God has chosen to wake up in me. And so again, we're just looking, what is my relationship to Kundalini Shakti, to this path, to our experience? And of course, if it's a negative sense, if it's a sense of victimization, the invitation here, when I move into that second teaching, is, can I begin to relax? And so giving ourselves permission to relax behind the eyes, relax the jaw, giving ourselves permission to take the backward step, stepping into a sense of spaciousness. And as we step into this sense of spaciousness, right away, we are allowing everything to be here. Allowing the body to soften and to melt, to relax, to merge into a sense of spaciousness. So you can gently scan your body and notice, are you holding the throat, the jaw, the neck, behind the heart? The middle back, behind the solar plexus. Within the solar plexus, like, is there any gripping? And so now we're feeling into the body and noticing, am I fighting anywhere in my body with this movement of Kundalini? Having a basic understanding that Kundalini is energy and energy simply wants to flow. So are we open and receptive to the flow of Kundalini? So scanning down in the lower abdomen, the hara, the sacrum, hips, the pelvis, pelvic floor, the inner thighs, all these places we habitually hold tension. Sometimes we don't even know why we're holding tension here. A little bit of a mindfulness awareness. We see, oh, it appears I am resisting Kundalini, or I'm resisting pain, or resisting feeling, or resisting an energy that I don't understand. and making the empowered choice to choose not to resist. Courageous choice to choose to open and allow Shakti to flow into silence. To flow into spaciousness. And as you feel all the way down, all the way down to the base of the spine, perhaps all the way down to the bottoms of the feet, inviting the entirety of the nervous system to be deeply relaxed. Let's be receptive and even invite this Kundalini Shakti to flow without any resistance. Inviting it to flow throughout the central channel. To flowing through the root, through the hara, through the solar plexus, through the heart, and if this Kundalini Shakti does run into any resistance or blockages, it's inviting this Kundalini Shakti wants to have like a sweeping motion where it's like sweeping out any old karma or any holding, and like a gentle sweep, gentle brushing away of anything that's in the way. Again, flowing up through the base, the root, through the hara, the solar plexus, the heart. Flowing through the throat chakra, clearing out any congestion there. Flowing through the space of the mind and out the top of that. And so again, we're just going to continue to breathe, to feel, inviting this flow of energy through the root, the hara, solar plexus, the heart, the throat, flowing through the space of the mind out the top of the head. And so just establishing this flow of the central channel, trusting that openness is the way, receptivity is the way. And I'm going to invite us to listen a little more deeply to see if this Kundalini Shakti, the intelligence of Kundalini Shakti, has a message for you. Maybe it will show you or direct you, lead you and guide you to hold your heart, to be more loving to yourself, or to let go or to forgive. Maybe it will guide you to a new realm of divinity behind the heart, the back of the skull. Maybe it will remind you to smile, let go, and to let God move through you and it flew it away. Maybe this Kundalini Shakti will put a little pressure on some point where you're holding. And if it is directing us to do a little bit of healing work, again, it's come back to these basic questions. Can I soften? Can I open? Can I let go? Can I trust? And so for some of you, you may notice as you open to the Kundalini, the energy becomes more intense. It can create a little bit of pressure. And if that's you, we're going to invite our mind to the space of our consciousness to expand further, to make room for the Kundalini. Sometimes we lay down and we open and we relax and the Kundalini begins to flow and we say, oh, this is good. But then as the energy intensifies, our mind contracts again and says, no, this is not good. And if that's you, we want to expand our consciousness to allow more room for the Kundalini, more room for this energy, more room for the expansion of your true nature. And so as we continue to breathe and feel, open to more of a non-dual sense with Kundalini. Can you see? Can you acknowledge that you are the Kundalini Shakti? That you are this space. That this Kundalini Shakti is not something you open to, but rather it is something you are. Again, you join me by taking this leap. We breathe, we feel, we open. We leap to this merged state. Knowing that what you are is this energy. This energy is you. You are light. You are love. You are space. And so we breathe, we feel, we open. And if any of you really struggled with that last part, again, we can ask the Kundalini, like, hey, can you show me what I need to let go of, or where I need to soften, where I could trust more fully, and allow the intelligence of Kundalini to direct you. Sometimes it's hard to fully open when there's someone we need to forgive. There's something we need to surrender. And so we can gently open our eyes. Again, I'd like to welcome you into this space. And there's this funny thing that happens with Kundalini in the beginning. Again, it seems like some outside rebel force that's taking over, that's trying to overthrow the fort. But in the end, we see that Kundalini is actually our divine nature. It's our light, our space, our peace. It's not something separate from us. But in the beginning, often we have to make some of these developmental steps of relating to the Kundalini in a trusting way, in a faithful way, in an open-hearted way, getting to know it. And this goes back to that age-old question of, can you, do you know thyself? Do you know what it is that you are? In the beginning of the path, we think we're a big fat ego, is what we think. And at the end of the path, we realize we are life itself. And of course, this Kundalini Shakti is here to remind us that you are life itself. You are life itself. But for many of us, there's some steps to make, and there's a whole path here, and that path may include a lot of forgiveness, a lot of surrender, a lot of trust, a lot of faith, a lot of letting go, a lot of healing and doing our inner child work and healing our traumatic wounds and trusting in our strength and our divinity. And so